I'm Jacob Skovira. I work at the U.S. Army Institute for Chemical Defense. Our primary goal is developing medical countermeasures to mitigate the effects of these nerve agents. So seizures obviously is a big problem, and there's these fast and we're going backwards. So they have very toxic, lethal effects that are very rapid. But if you survive through that, you have these progressive seizures. So when people think about seizures, you think about epilepsy. Typically, that's on the second time scale, seconds to minutes for the length of those seizures. When you're exposed to nerve agents, these seizures don't stop on their own. So they will continue unabated until some form of treatment is applied to these to the injured casualties. All of those neurons are dead, so that's completely lesioned out. So what you end up is with massive gaping holes, essentially in the brain. So, like I said, these are very toxic, lethal. Their principal target is in the central nervous system here, and this isn't a World War I or World War II threat. These are things that our soldiers are faced with currently, and we're trying to get them the best treatments possible to make sure that they're protected while they're out in the field. It's a combined anticonvulsant nerve agent treatment system is what we're developing. So all the soldiers carry auto injectors when they go into an area with a potential for chemical exposure. And essentially what we're developing is new auto injectors to replace those treatments with more effective drugs. Right now we have a new anticonvulsant to replace their current one that's going through the FDA right now. We're actually in the final stages of trying to get approval. I have up here just a couple of the projects that I work on. So like I said, we're primarily focused on, in my lab, nerve agent-induced seizures and mitigating those effects. So I use a couple of techniques which are considered next-generation neuroscience. So these are advanced techniques compared to traditional pharmacological methods. On the top there, optogenetics. Essentially what we're doing is using light at a specific wavelength to control neurons, to either turn them on, turn them off. And what we use this for is to look at the seizure pathways. So which areas of the brain are initiating the seizure, which areas of the brain can be controlled to stop the seizures, and how do they spread. I'll skip down to the bottom there with the real-time acetylcholinesterase activity. This is where we're developing a true antidote for the nerve agents, and we want it to be effective in the central nervous system, so the current oxime antidotes don't get into the brain. So we're working on developing these oximes, these true antidotes for the nerve agent that can actually get into the brain to reactivate that inhibited acetylcholinesterase. Traditionally, what you would do is you would look at very small, thin sections, much thinner than a piece of paper, and maybe take 3 or 4 of those from a whole brain and try to extrapolate that out to give you an idea of the brain damage that's occurring. And what we can do with this technique is actually take large volumes of tissue and get a very large scale idea of the damage that is occurring.